Hey, Judy.
Yeah?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hannah.
Hannah who?
Honolulu.
We'll tell you how to get your ticket punched for Honolulu next on Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time. William, what does this sound like?
I don't know.
Sounds like vacation.
And speaking of vacation, we wanted to let you know that you could join Garden Time coming this February of 2017 for a great vacation to Hawaii.
And later in the show, we'll be talking all about the trip, all the gardens you'll see, and how you can join us.
Also coming up on the show today, some great ideas for plants for a green roof.
We'll be also showing you some fall plants with berries.
But coming up first, planting a garden with plant diversity.
Well, it's so nice to be with Greg again from Zero Plants. And Greg, you know, we've been to your shop in Portland, we've been to your house, but now we're at your growing facility where you have even more plants to talk about today.
Indeed, yeah. So I've brought out kind of a small selection out of our greenhouses, just talking about planting for diversity in the garden. So generally when I think of that, I usually think of trying to get as many plant species as possible in as small of a space as possible. Not only to keep things interesting year-round, because the more plant diversity you have, the more blooms you have coming on at different times of year, but also from an ecological standpoint, because as we go into the future, more and more of our lands are being developed. There's less habitat for a lot of animals, so including both natives and plants that will bloom for a long time and help out our native pollinators and other animals, I think it's always a good idea when we're building our gardens.
So where do we start?
So I pulled out a couple trees, because when you're planting your garden, it's always good to think of the different layers. So starting off with the canopy, it's always nice to have trees around for birds, for roosting, that kind of thing. Also a lot of insects. One tree that's really heavily used by insects is Oregon white oak, which is native all over Western Oregon. And its habitat is being kind of constricted by farming and development. It's a tree that you plant basically for the future.
It's going to get really big.
It's going to get really big, but none of us are going to see it. It can take like over 50 years to get to a good size. So it's something, kind of a heritage tree that you would plant, really useful to a lot of native plant animals, not only from the leaves, but also the acorns.
Ah, right.
A couple other West Coast native small trees I really like. One is Western redbud. So very similar to Eastern redbud in appearance, but this one's native from Southern Oregon down through California. It's a chaparral plant, really great for early season pollinators as it blooms starting in March. And another favorite is blue elderberry, which often is classified as a shrub, but it's pretty much a tree. Yeah. And that's a good example of a plant that's not only native, but it's also edible. So the berries are delicious. You can make them into jam, wine, perhaps.
But then you have some flowering trees and tall shrubs too, so that's kind of a neat thing too.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be just natives. Like having a mix, I think is always good, because if you notice around your garden, a lot of our own native animals and pollinators use non-native trees just as readily as the natives. One of my favorites is crepe myrtle. It'll come into bloom after most of our other trees have already finished. Bees really love crepe myrtle, and the birds love to pop up in the branches in the winter and eat the seeds out of the little pods. Right next door with the lovely lavender blue flowers is vitex or chase tree. It's another late season bloomer. So if you notice around a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of gardens primarily have spring blooming trees, so lots of magnolias and cherries.
Sure.
Vitex and crepe myrtles are both trees that'll start in July, August, and go on through the fall. So kind of promotes not just a lot more going on in your garden, but diversity for insects and animals.
Okay, so what about middle of the garden? So now we're talking about maybe a shrub, big shrubs or small trees?
I picked out a couple favorites for, these are more uncommon native plants up and down the West Coast. This is coffeeberry. It's native from Southern Oregon through Northern California. The berries were an important food source for Native Americans. Other animals like the berries quite a bit as well. Tends to bloom, this cultivar especially will bloom at different times of the year. And it's another uncommon native. You don't see it around in gardens a lot, but it's a really beautiful evergreen shrub.
It's a nice texture, I really like that.
Stays looking good throughout the year.
And then some of these others.
So another kind of interesting Willamette Valley native is buckbrush, or Ceanothus cuneatus. And this is an evergreen shrub. The northern part of its range is near Corvallis, which is where these cuttings are from. It's a really prolific spring bloomer with white flowers. Bees just love it. But again, it's an uncommonly planted species, so I think it's always fun to try and include some more unusual, rare natives in the mix when we're planting gardens.
Greg, I saw this one here, and I think that might be for hummingbirds. What do you think?
Oh yeah, this is a fantastic plant for hummingbirds and bees too. This is Agastache or Agastache, a couple of ways to pronounce it. This is native in the mountains of the southwestern United States. It's one of my favorite perennials because each flower spike will just keep opening up buds all the way through the season. So for about 5 months of the year, so it blooms forever.
So to find all these plants and for tips on how to diversify your garden so it's beautiful all year round and invite all of the native insects, please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to Zero Plant's website and you can find out the information on where to find them in Portland. Thanks so much, and thanks for picking out all these plants.
You bet. Thanks, Judy.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Is your garden in need of refreshment? Hi, I'm Sarah, and there are plenty of things in bloom at Portland Nursery. Come check out our beautiful fall color to perk up your garden. At Portland Nursery, we consider fall the second season, and the gardening opportunities are endless. Establish next year's trees, replace lettuce and greens, or get a jump on onions and garlic. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people, on 50th and Stark and 90th and Division, or at portlandnursery.com.
Fall is a time to think of planting and planning. Planting new plants now will help them get a jump start on next year. Black Gold All-Purpose can help your plants get ready for winter and next spring. Formulated with a blend of natural and organic nutrients, it contains everything your plants and spring bulbs need for a happy and healthy start. Look for Black Gold All-Purpose at your local garden center or nursery. Black Gold, all the riches of the earth.
Every year, trees fall or break, causing property damage, power outages, and injury.
Now is the time for Bartlett Tree Experts and Collier Arbor Care to get your trees ready for the extreme conditions ahead.
Our free consultation will help to spot the signs of potentially hazardous trees.
We can help address problems before they occur. Whether it's trees or shrubs, we can help you get a healthy and beautiful garden.
Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts, providing environmentally safe tree care since 1907.
Locally grown, fresh from the farm, stylish and sustainable, your dream yard starts at Al's Garden Center. Our biggest sale of the year is on now. You'll find huge discounts throughout the store, including indoor and outdoor pottery. Also save big on perennials, trees, shrubs, grills, patio furniture, and more. Our biggest sale of the year is on now. Al's Garden Centers in Woodburn, Sherwood, and Gresham.
I am at Blooming Junction, and Cornelia is with Grace. And Grace, this is a wonderful place. It's out in the country, but what a great place to come and get plants.
Oh, thank you. We have an incredible selection here.
You sure do. And you have something that's really kind of like, I think it's a really important trend these days. It's about living roofs or green roofs. So tell us about, like, if we wanted to get into a green roof, what do we have to look at first?
Well, first of all, you got to make sure that your structure will support a green roof. And the weights of the roofs are going to depend a lot on the depth of the soil and the soil mix that you actually use. So that's something you'll want to check out in advance and make sure that your building can take an extra load. Around here, our snow load is like 17 pounds on a roof. That's what the rules are for Washington County. So it needs to be enough more that you can accommodate that snow, but also that green roof.
Because you're really taking care of it like a garden bed on a roof.
Absolutely.
So it's that same kind of idea. So you want to plant it, and you need to maintain it, which is really important.
That's right, yes. And you also need to remember that the weight of it, you need to weigh it when it's thoroughly saturated, not when it's dry, because that's what's going to happen, and then you're going to get snow on top, and it's going to weigh a lot more than you think. But yeah, absolutely, the biggest, there are several considerations when you're going to do a green roof. One is the weight. Another one is the soil that you use, because you want a really fast draining soil, and you don't want to have a lot of organic material in the soil. So we use a mix that has virtually no organic material. And the reason you don't want to use organic material is it breaks down and then the soil becomes smaller.
Right.
And then you have to kind of come up and get more soil onto the roof.
And you make ones that are modular, that are already ready to go. So maybe you can kind of talk about these.
So we have a business where we all actually grow roofs for mostly commercial buildings. And that's a pre-vegetated system. We do a lot of different mixes. We plug them with other plants. But because different plants require, some require a lot more soil depth than others, we have, for our modular system, we have a 2-inch, a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch soil profile. So obviously the 8-inch allows you to do all kinds of really fun things with plants. There's a lot more you can do. This one here is actually a 4-inch module. It's only 4 inches of soil. These, they just snap together on the roof, and when they get installed, these elevators get pulled out so it looks like it was grown up there, so it doesn't have any edges on it.
And these are all sedums, different kinds of sedums.
Yeah, this is a sedum mix, and sedums are really useful on a roof because they are they do CAM photosynthesis, so basically they're able, when it's hot and dry, they can close their stomates in the daytime and then open them up at night and take in this carbon dioxide at night when it's cooler. So they're very efficient on the roof. And there's a lot of other plants that have that same mechanism, and so those are really good plants to consider for your green roof.
Grace, I see you have other plants here, and I bet you have some favorites that would be really good, successful plants for people to use.
Oh yeah, there's so many plants that can be used. It's important for people to experiment, but these are a few things that we've had very good success with. If people have shady roofs, which is pretty common if you're doing a garage or something like that, to have some shade over it, you may want to use something like this, deer fern, or even maidenhair fern. If you have really pretty solid shade, works really well. And it works in a 4-inch soil profile, which is really nice. A lot of these bigger herbaceous perennials need a deeper soil profile, like 6 or 8 inches even. And even some of the grasses, there's a few grasses that work well in a short soil profile, like this Coleria glauca. And then others like this Spirabolus is a fantastic green roof plant, but it needs 8 inches of soil. So that's the weight situation coming back. You really have to keep that in mind, whether you can put that kind of weight on your roof. Another very good plant is Fragaria virginiana. This is just a real stalwart on the roof, just very sturdy. Ajuga purple brocade we use a lot of. It works well on a shade roof, it works well on a sun roof. Very versatile, very nice for breaking up the texture and having more diversity in your roof.
Grace, it really is a good time to come out and see all these plants for a green roof or for the garden. Fall is a good time to plant.
I can't think of a better time to plant, really, Judy, because you get a full extra year of growth out of your plants. They put down roots without you spending a lot of time with the hose next spring and summer.
True.
So yeah, and we have an excellent selection out here today. We brought in a lot of extra new stuff for the Fall Planting Festival. And this is our Harvest Festival today. We've got a pumpkin pie contest. If you can come out and get a pumpkin here, a pie pumpkin that we grow here on the farm, you can use your favorite recipe and come and enter to win a $100 gift certificate. We have a salsa contest also.
Lovely.
And we're having a couple of live music acts as well. So it should be a really fun day today. We're very excited.
That is good. Well, you heard it from Grace, so you got to go to gardentime.tv, click you over to the Blooming Junction website, get all the information, directions how to get out here, and come and have a great day with your friends and family. Well, thanks so much. Have a good time.
Yeah, thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Buying a new vehicle should be something you look forward to. So, when you come to Capital Subaru, bring your pup, practice your swing, go for a walk, and relax. Our personally tailored service makes it easy for you to find your ideal Subaru, while you enjoy the service, selection, and amenities you simply won't find at any other dealership.
Hurry in now and lease the new 2017 Subaru Forester 2.5i, just $221 per month, or get 0% APR for 72 months on all 2016 Subaru Legacies.
Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
To bring the extraordinary colors of fall to your landscape, you need to come to a place that offers more than the ordinary. At Sagawa Nursery, we love fall. From brilliant yellows to vibrant reds, we have one of the Northwest's largest selections of Japanese maples. At Sagawa Nursery, we also have a colorful selection of hardy plants. so your home can be as beautiful as the season. Come visit us and see how we can help you make your season extraordinary. Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
The health and beauty of your garden starts from the ground up, and healthy soils begin at Grimm's Fuel. For the best in garden mulch, blended soils, and bark dust, choose Grimm's. U-Haul delivered or installed, Grimm's can do it. And if you're looking for a new lawn, Grimm's can do that too with our special lawn installation service. Grimm's is also the area's largest recycler of yard debris. The foundation for a healthy garden begins at Grimm's Fuel.
Fall in the Northwest is
the best time of year to plant, with warmer soils and cooler evenings.
A time to spend with family and friends.
Fall is a time to celebrate.
To decorate.
And to enjoy the colors that are only found here in our area.
Fall is a time to come to Garland Nursery.
And let us show you all that fall can be.
Garland Nursery, inspiring beautiful and bountiful gardens.
It's a great delight to be out at Sagawa's out here in Woodland, Washington again, and I'm with Brian. So Brian, what are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah, well, thanks, William. Seasonal interest. We always trying to create seasonal interest, doing designs and helping customers with the yards. Berries is a very good possible way to get interest plants throughout the years.
Because the berries, not only will the fall color and leaves happen, but they have great
always
color.
Changing,
yeah.
That's right. So you have your Pink Beauty viburnum here. You can see what it's doing. It's changing its colors. But June, July, August, it's always so hot, dry, so you're always trying to get, some kind of interest going, whether it's the bark of the tree or fall coloration. But right now it's good. Berries, I thought would be very good to talk about.
And although this is a more unusual viburnum, this to me, this looks just like a holly. Is that an ilex?
Well,
down there?
it's actually it's a kind of a more compact one. Blue Princess is what the name of it is. It's
beautiful.
More for the darker foliage, smaller leaf. It's going to be actually more of a more semi-dwarf compact one. It doesn't get that full, true, tall English holly variety.
Yeah.
It's a cross.
So it's not going to get like a 25-foot
Exactly
massive
right.
plant like the other ones do.
It's smaller leaves, smaller berry actually, so it's a smaller plant too.
And this is an absolutely beautiful thing. What is it?
That's your Pernetia, the red-berried Pernetia.
Wow.
Actually, we'll get a little deeper. It looks pink, but it's called red-berried Pernetia, and it's an old-fashioned shrub. It's been around for a long time.
Really?
But yeah, it's been around for a long time. But it's self-fertile. You don't need a pollinator. It just comes out with these kind of a dark pink.
And it looks like it would be an evergreen shrub here in the Northwest.
Yeah, it's very kind of what we call rangy kind of growth. You would want to trim this down. It is evergreen. It will keep its leaves on.
Nice.
And I think it's great when you keep it trimmed back. And,
yeah.
You
And
can
what
see
is
the
this?
flower
This
coming
almost
right
looks
on.
like they're a purple berry.
Yeah, that's Calicarpa, the
Lovely.
beauty berry there. And these berries will stay on for the winter too.
Wow.
Some of these are deciduous, so the leaves fall off, but the berries usually persist. They stick around.
And I have to tell you, Brian, I was not aware that another viburnum, which is right here, would have those. That's an amazing color berry, and I was not aware of that till just a couple years ago.
I believe, I don't really know like the story of the viburnum David eyes, but yeah, David's viburnum, I think there's just a certain, it depends where they cut the plant or something, and then that one would be somehow fertile enough to have berries. It's not like they all...
Well, what a great color.
It is. When that metallic blue, that's a great berry color, but the mystery's beyond me. I don't know why, some will and some don't.
You don't have to know everything, do
That's
you?
exactly right. You just kind of
And tell me
appreciate what
about
you get.
this great orange berry.
Pyracantha there.
Wonderful.
There's usually come in the reds and the orange berries, but again, for the holiday time or whatever, it's just nice to have berries hanging around.
Well, and speaking of orange berries, I absolutely love that this has been grafted onto a stem, and then you can really see not only the leaf color but the berry color. Tell me about that.
Right. That's good. It's actually grafted onto like a patio style graft. It's just the burning bush there.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
That's so
grafted
cool.
on like a 4.5 foot standard. So what's nice about it? It's pretty. Most of your deciduous shrubs pretty tough. They don't require a lot of water, easy to grow, no bugs, no diseases, just a great.
So beauty and an easy plant.
Exactly.
Well, you know, there's always a
Low
lot of
maintenance.
great things to come out and see at Sagawa's out here in Woodland. So for more information, you can go to gardentime.tv. Come on up here to Woodland, look at their store, pick out some great plants. It'll give you some great winter interest all through the season. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate it, my friend.
Welcome to Drake's, not your ordinary garden center. Grab a cup of coffee at Antonio's and wander the nursery for the perfect plant. Check out the landscape design showrooms for ideas, then meet with a designer. Come pick out a bouquet of flowers for dinner or for that someone special. Find something distinctive for your home or your garden. Imagine the possibilities and let Drake's turn them into realities. Drake's 7Ds on Southwest Shoals Ferry Road in Portland. Little Baja is your source for a whole lot of terracotta and concrete too. From bird baths and benches to Buddhas, bears, and fountains, plus the exclusive Baja chimney, we have an amazing variety of the finest in terracotta and concrete containers. Come check out our selection of statuary for any garden theme or setting. So for something for the garden, deck, or patio, come see us at Little Baja on East Burnside in Portland. Find us on Facebook too.
We have close to 40 acres in pumpkins now. Every year it seems to get a little bigger. We add one more attraction.
We've done the rope swing.
I'm gonna shoot some apples. We have a brand new laser adventure, and our bug trains have always been a big hit. We have all these greenhouses, and come October, we fill them with all different kinds of activities. A dark hay maze, we have a hay obstacle course, we have a kids hay maze. There's something for everybody. Little kids, big kids, everywhere in between.
It's fall clearance time at Standard TV and Appliance.
Take up to an additional 50% off the lowest tagged price on closeouts, overstocks, floor models, and special purchases at Standard, including refrigerators and freezers, washers and dryers, ranges, wall ovens and cooktops, top brand dishwashers, HD TVs, and home theater. Plus, take up to an additional 20% off on display and discontinued pro-style appliances. Hurry, savings like this won't last long.
Only while they last. Standard TV and Appliance.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
At the beginning of the show, we had told you about the tour that we're taking to Hawaii. Now that is happening in February of 2017. We also originally only had it for 5 days. However, we are now increasing it to a 10-day tour and at approximately the same amount of money.
So we start our tour in Waikiki on the island of Oahu on February 9th. While in Waikiki, we are staying at the Outrigger Reef Resort, and on that first day, we'll be going to the Foster Botanical Garden. The next day, we will go to another garden with lead botanist David Orr at the Waimea Botanical Garden. On our third day, we go to the Hawaii Plantation Village, a living history museum and botanical garden. And then that evening, we board the Norwegian Cruise Line's Pride of America for our 7-night cruise.
Our first stop will be in Maui, and while in Maui, we are going to take a tour of Ocean Vodka, a place which makes vodka from sugarcane. We'll also go to Kula Country Farm, visit a lavender farm, and then end the day at Kula Lodge at the Kula Botanical Garden. Then on our 5th day, the day is yours. You have a full day to experience anything you want to in Maui.
On our 6th day, we'll be in Hilo on the Big Island, and you have a choice of going to Volcanoes National Park, exploring Hawaii Tropical Botanical Garden, or the Hilo's Farmer Market, where you can meet the locals, try local products, and shop for homemade items. On day 7, we're in Kona, still on the Big Island, and it's a do-as-you-please day. The cruise line offers many excursions, including a coffee plantation, macadamia nut farm, or you can just hang out at the beach.
Day 8 finds us on our 4th island, Kauai, a very special day for Garden Time travelers as we visit the internationally known Allerton and McBride Gardens. A tour of Allerton in the morning, lunch, and then we are off to explore McBride, the famous research garden. We are still on the island of Kauai on our 9th day as we cruise the beautiful Nepali coast in the afternoon. Then it's time to say goodbye to our friends at a special farewell dinner.
Day 10 finds us back in Honolulu for our last day in paradise. You can take one last walk on the beach or just hang out before flying back to Portland. Now, space is limited for this tour and it's a great low price that will be going up on October 15th. So go to gardentime.tv for more information.
Now remember, this is a trip that is going to be filled with fun, with sun, and with some amazing gardens. Aloha!
Aloha.
You know, every fall, all of the garden centers talk about fall planting and how important that is. Well, today we wanted to tell you the reasons that that is so important.
You know, actually in fall, just because the plants are dormant on top and it's cold weather doesn't mean there's nothing going on underground. Roots actually put on root growth during the wintertime. So you're actually getting a heads up on next year's season, so they're more established and they're ready to perform for you next year.
Now, as with all plants, and we should do this all the time, you always want to consider the soil you're putting them in first. You know, Grandpa always said, $10 plant, $40 hole. So we really recommend using compost and any kind of amendment that you add when planting at any time of the year, but especially in the fall.
And you know, also add in some transplant fertilizer, so there's some nutrients down in that hole when the roots get to it.
Now, the first thing you want to consider is the plants that you're buying now to plant in the garden. This is a great time for you to see all of the wonderful color that they have in the fall, just like we do in the spring, but the fall has a special texture because you also get leaf change, which you don't get to see in the springtime. So be sure that you do this when you're planting the new plants.
And also look at your garden and see what was good or bad, what happened in the garden this year. Just a few short weeks ago, we had all of that heat. Was everything performing well? Was that plant in the right place? So this is the time to maybe transplant or edit your garden and maybe move that plant to where it's going to be much more happy next year.
So for more information on fall planting and why it is so important, you can go to gardentime.tv. Thanks so much for watching Garden Time. And Judy, I am packed and ready to go to Hawaii.
William, that's all you're taking?
It is.
Really? That's all you're taking?
All I'm taking.
Well, if you want to know any more about the trip, please go to gardentime.tv and click on the tours page.
As always, thank you for watching today, and we'll do it again next week, right here on Garden Time.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.